Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? I think it's day 40 of our flooding here. I feel like we're back in biblical times here. I feel like we're kind of slowly building our ark here. It still hasn't seen the sun for seems like 5 weeks. But yeah, anyways, it's Tuesday morning. It's still raining outside. I've had a lot of coffee this morning, so I kind of a little jumpy this morning. Yeah, so as most of you guys know, I meet with a group of guys on Tuesday mornings, and we're still continue that tradition on Tuesdays where we're just having coffee and stuff like that, and we talk about what's going on in our lives. And this morning the topic was about the importance of checking in with people and strength in numbers, so to speak. And last night I was kind of like, not really sure I want to wake up for the Zoom call, and I was like, but then it's like I didn't want it to end. So it was cool because yeah, we were just talking about the importance of being with other people and the importance of not isolating yourself socially. And it was good because it kind of encouraged me to reach out to people and to send out that text message, to send out an email to someone that you've been wanting to reach out to. The perfect opportunity to do that. So I encourage you guys, if you're reading this, and even if we are back together again and we're able to be together with other people, still take that time to outreach with somebody. It really makes a difference. And so it was very encouraging for me to wake up this morning and to be able to talk with this group of guys. So Marcus Hanna was on the call, and he says, yeah, he says hi to everybody at Red Apple, and so he's looking forward to visiting again this next coming school year, whenever that will be. So anyways, we are on chapter 33 and 34. We left off on chapter 32 where Stanley took the truck and crashed it into one of the holes, and he runs into the lake and with an empty canteen, and it reminded him that it was empty, 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 and those were the last words in chapter 32. So we're going to start out with chapter 33. He slowed to a walk. As far as he could tell, nobody was chasing him. He could hear voices coming from back by the truck, but couldn't make out the words. Occasionally, he'd hear the revving of the engine, but the truck wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. He headed in what he thought was the direction of Big Thumb, but he couldn't see it through the haze. Walking helped calm him down and allowed him to think clearly. He doubted he could make it to Big Thumb, and with no water in his canteen, he didn't want to risk his life on the hope that he'd find refuge there. He'd have to return to camp, he knew that, but he was in no hurry. It would be better to return later after everyone had a chance to calm down. And as long as he'd come this far, he might as well look for zero. He decided he would walk as long as he could until he was too weak to go any farther. Then he'd turn around and go back. He smiled as he realized that wouldn't quite work. He would only go halfway as far as he thought he could go, so that he'd still have the strength to return. Then he'd have to make a deal with the warden, tell her where she found Kate Barlow's lipstick tube, and beg for mercy. He was surprised by how far out the holes extended. He couldn't even see the camp compound anymore, but he still kept passing holes. Just when he thought he'd passed the last hole, he'd come across another cluster of them a little farther away. Back at the compound, they had dug in a systematic order, row upon row, allowing space for the water truck. But out here, there was no system. It was as if every once in a while, in a fit of frustration, the warden would just pick a spot at random and say, what the hell, dig here. It was like trying to guess the winning numbers in a lottery. Stanley found himself looking down into each hole he passed. He didn't admit to himself what he was looking for. After more than an hour had gone by, he thought he had surely seen the last hole, but then off to the left he saw another cluster of them. He didn't actually see the holes. He saw the mounds of dirt that surrounded them. He stepped over the mounds and looked into the first hole. His heart stopped. Down at the bottom was a family of yellow-spotted lizards. Their large red eyes looked up at him. He kept back over the mound and ran. He didn't know if they were chasing after him. He thought he might have seen one leap out of the hole. He ran until he couldn't run any further and then collapsed. They hadn't come after him. He sat there a while and caught his breath. As he got back to his feet, he thought he noticed something on the ground, maybe 50 yards away. It didn't look like much, maybe just a big rock, but in a land of nothingness, any little thing seemed unusual. He walked slowly toward it. The encounter with the lizards had made him very cautious. It turned out to be an empty sack of sunflower seeds. He wondered if it was the same one Magnan had stolen from Mr. Sir, although that didn't seem likely. He turned it inside out and found one seed stuck to the burlap. Lunch. All right, chapter 34. The sun was almost directly overhead. He figured he could walk for no more than another hour, maybe two, before he had to turn back. It seemed pointless. He could see there was nothing ahead of him, nothing but emptiness. He was hot, tired, hungry, and most of all, thirsty. Maybe he should just turn around now. Maybe he'd already gone halfway and didn't even know it. Then looking around, he saw a pool of water less than 100 yards away from where he was standing. He closed his eyes and opened them to make sure he wasn't imagining it. The pool was still there. He turned toward it. The pool hurried away from him, moving as he moved, stopping when he stopped. There wasn't any water. It was a mirage caused by the shimmering waves of heat rising off the dry ground. He kept walking. He still carried an empty sack of sunflower seeds. He didn't know if he might find something to put it in. After a while, he thought he could make out the shape of the mountains through the haze. At first, he wasn't sure if this was another kind of mirage, but the farther he walked, the clearer they came into a view. Almost straight ahead of him, he could see what looked like a fist with its thumb sticking up. He didn't know how far away it was. 5 miles? 50 miles? One thing was certain, it was more than halfway. He kept walking towards it, although he didn't know why. He knew he had to turn around before he got there, but every time he looked at it, it seemed to encourage him, giving him the thumbs up sign. As he continued walking, he became aware of a large object on this lake. He couldn't tell what it was, or even if it was natural or man-made. It looked a little like a fallen tree, although it didn't seem likely that a tree would grow here. More likely, it was a ridge of dirt or rocks. The object, whatever it was not on the way to Big Thumb, but off to the right. He tried to decide whether to go to it or continue toward Big Thumb, or maybe just turn around. There was no point in heading toward Big Thumb, he decided. He would never make it. For all he knew, it was like chasing the moon, but he could make it to the mysterious object. He changed directions. He doubted it was anything, but the fact that there was something in the middle of all this nothing made it hard for him to pass up. He decided to make the object his halfway point, and he hoped he hadn't already gone too far. He laughed to himself when he saw what it was. It was a boat, or part of a boat anyway. It struck him as funny to see a boat in the middle of this dry and barren wasteland, but after all, he realized this was once a lake. The boat lay upside down, half buried in the dirt. Someone may have drowned here, he thought grimly, at the same spot where he could very well die of thirst. The name of the boat had been painted on the back. The upside-down red letters were peeled and faded, but Stanley could still read the name, Mary Lou. On one side of the boat, there was a pile of dirt and then a tunnel leading down below the boat. The tunnel looked big enough for a good-sized animal to crawl through. He heard a noise. Something stirred under the boat. It was coming out. "Hey!" Stanley shouted, hoping to scare it back inside. His mouth was very dry and it was about to shout. It was hard to shout very loudly. "Hey!" the thing answered weakly. Then a dark hand and an orange sleeve reached up out of the tunnel. I was actually thinking about continuing on, but I think we'll wait for the next chapter, okay? I think you guys know who it is. So anyways, I don't really have a challenge question for you guys today. As you can see, I'm wearing my Milwaukee Bucks hat. If you guys want, you can research a Bucks player. You can research, tell you what, yeah, let's do this. You guys can research who wore number 33 for the Milwaukee Bucks. That number is now retired. So check that out. And also you could maybe look up number, yeah, let's just do number 33 for the
34.
34. Well, that number's not retired though.
No.
No. So you could, you know what? Yeah, let's do number 33 and number 34 of the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, tell me what player you come up with and describe all that. Just give me as much information as you would like about that player. Okay. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Looking forward to reading chapter 35 and 36. I'll probably record something soon. Talk to you guys later. I love you guys. Bye.